What's the deal with four-wheel drive? Does anyone truly need it? I mean, if you live on a mountain or something, sure. And I've always dreamed of becoming an astronaut. Then again, who hasn't? The voice is cracking. I had a pet octopus once. Try putting socks on one of that. I was watching America's Funniest Home Videos one night. I can't believe they have so many funny videos. Who was Adam Sandler's biggest influence? Every slut he ever dated. Some people are starting to say that suicide is natural. I don't think so. I mean, you don't see too many bears blowing their brains out with a chain gun. I was on the moon the other day. My only regret is not replacing the oxygen tanks with beer ones. A blonde and a goblin walk into a bar. Sorry, no blondes in here, said the bartender. Upset, the blonde turns to the goblin. The goblin, being a goblin, starts to massacre the peasants. You know, telling jokes for a living is really everyone's dream, but most people can't do it. I'm pretty lucky. I can do it. I'm not doing it. It's not going on the album. It's not going on the album. I hate it. One day in a park, some men built a bench. When they were finished, the next day, the town had gathered around to appraise their craftsmanship. Wonderful, said one person. Splendid, said another. A sitter's dream. It was unanimous. This was a great bench.
Please, everyone, put your hands together for Alex Hiatt.
Did anyone see that Adam Sandler comedy 8 Crazy Nights? Of course not, because it was only seen by his 8 crazy fans. What about that band Weezer? I hear they are called Weezer because the singer's grandpa was a soldier in World War II and fought and died at the Battle of Weezer. Anyone ever seen Goodfellas? It is very overrated in my opinion, full of stupid people and no lesbians. I met a psychopath once. It looked like you. Yeah, I remember those Ernest movies. He was always getting into trouble. They out of jail, that prick. A Nightmare on Elm Street was about a pedophile who was burned alive. Or was that Adam Sandler's Autobiography? Anyone ever hear of that band Metallica? It's a good idea they decided to go with that name and not their original idea, 9/11. How many of our brave troops does it take to screw in a light bulb? God bless our troops. I went to an Iron Maiden concert the other day, but the band forgot their instruments, so they were forced to play with violins. It was bullshit. I used to be a NASCAR racer. Thing is, I couldn't afford a car, so I rode a bike. Funny thing is, I still managed to run a race. A Russian spy was captured the other day. What was his mission? To destroy the blueprints for the next Adam Sandler comedy. But U.S. officials released him so that he could finish his mission. They say it takes 10 waves to make up for one hello. once was a man called the Coughing Wizard. He coughed up a spell of spells he couldn't quit. He coughed the world away. Two men were rioting against the establishment. One man asked the other, "What are you rioting about?" He replied, "The bad things." "How about you?" "The unjust things." The two men embraced.
Damn.
Anyone hear about that jerk George Bush? Worst president ever, am I right? Metallica would make a better president. Maybe. When Bill Clinton was impeached, who forgave him? Hitler. I went to an Iron Maiden concert the other day, but the band forgot their instruments, so they were forced to play with Hitler. It was bullshit. When Bill Clinton was impeached, fat retired people forgave him. How many goblins does it take to screw in a light bulb? 100. 1 to screw it in and 99 to massacre the peasants. Why did it 9/11 able to put so much focus into his duties as president? Because Rock Band wasn't invented yet. Don't worry, the pilot reassured us. This old plane's as sturdy as a rock. But at least it don't fly like one. He chuckled and turned back to the controls. I leaned over to my brother and whispered, "This is the best you could come up with? This thing is a death trap." "It's all I could get at the last minute. Be quiet and try not to think about it," he snapped at me. Applying his advice, I looked out the window. The view was expectedly breathtaking, but I couldn't take my mind off the shortcomings of our ride. Still annoyed, I turned to him again. "The best you could come up with?" I echoed angrily. "Fine," he exploded. "Would this make you feel safer?" He spat furiously. He opened the door and threw himself into the sunset. My mouth hung open. I wanted to faint. The pilot turned around and thought aloud, "Too bad it was your brother and not Adam Sandler." I agreed. Anyone hear about that jerk Hitler? Worst president ever, am I right? Abraham Lincoln would make a better president. Maybe. I went to an Iron Maiden concert the other day, but the band forgot their instruments, so they were forced to play with Weezer. It was bullshit. When Bill Clinton was impeached, Abraham Lincoln forgave him. I went to an Iron Maiden concert the other day, but the band forgot their instruments, so they were forced to play with bullshit. Have you ever noticed at airports those long luggage trains and thought of how cool it might be for Hitler to cruise around my backyard in them? Anyone ever hear of that band Metallica? It's a good idea they decided to go with that name and not their original idea, Weezer. Why do birds fly south? I guess because they are attracted to Weezer. A man walked down the sidewalk toward his workplace. He was thus far having a good day, and he was in a great mood. Noose, he thought suddenly. But it was not soon enough. He found himself hanging by his neck, the sidewalk no longer beneath his feet. "Noose!" he gasped angrily, struggling to breathe. His neck snapped, and his body hung there limp.